My biological father was in the neighborhood. Then my stepfather proceeded. One was an alcoholic, one was a drug addict. I've never endeavored in either. I never smoked, never drank in my life. Stopped using profanity my sophomore year in college. But I had some things that I was trying to fight because the like thereof. My father's never told me they loved me. That's not something I heard often. My mother was working her butt off so ends could see one another, although they never met. So my mother never saw me play football, baseball, or basketball in high school because she was working. So there comes the self um, motivation because I didn't need no one clapping for me because there wasn't nobody there. So I clapped for myself. I didn't need no one cheering for me because there was nobody there. So I cheered for myself. So there came what makes me me.
Out of that was born an incredibly gifted athlete. He played baseball, football, and ran track at Florida State. Won the Jim Thorpe Award. He was a two-time All-American cornerback and is the only man to ever play in the Super Bowl and the World Series the same year. But inside, he knew something was missing.
I had a calling on my life, and God was calling me to collect, and I wouldn't answer. I wouldn't accept the charges. Let me say that again. God was calling me collect, and I would not accept the charges because I understood the charges meant that I had to put down some things that I wasn't ready to put down. I'm on the top of the world and the top of my game, and I'm empty and desolate. I'm thirsting. I give the analogy, could you ever imagine having 100 suits, but you can't cover up the pain? Could you ever imagine having hundreds of pairs of shoes, but you can't take a step in the right direction? Can you imagine having up to 10 cars in the driveway, but you ain't going nowhere? Could you imagine living in a mansion, but feeling all alone? Could you imagine sleeping on a $25,000 bed, but you're not getting no rest? Could you imagine engulfed with women, but you get up and nobody's satisfied? Could you imagine those times? I mean, those are the times, running out that tunnel and doing what you did on the football field, but you're empty. And sooner or later, you running out of gas, and you know it's going to come to a head, and that's what happened.
Sanders was playing for the Reds in Cincinnati when life brought him to his knees.
It was a moment in a little apartment in Cincinnati, Ohio, when I was playing for the Reds. It was a moment where I fell to my knees, going through my first divorce. And my kids was the only thing that I thought that genuinely loved me. Now they're stripped away from me, and I'm sitting up there. I got to compete every day, and I got to have a challenge every day. And I'm lonely. I'm by myself, and I'm not lonely because of the like thereof of people, but I'm lonely because my spirit is troubled. And I cried out. I got on my knees and just cried out, and it was like a movie. I remember feeling a lot of wind and seeing lights flashing, and I remember closing my eyes in fear, and I said, "Lord, if that's you, take me. Lord, if that's you, take me, take me." And it was so bright, and the lights was so, it was like this bright light right here all amongst the room. And I was on my knees, teary-eyed, crying and just crying out, "Lord, take me." And then once I surrendered, left. That was the beginning of what you see now.